Do webinars still work to sell your product or drive sales calls in 2021? So you're here because you're trying to figure out if it is still worth doing a webinar in 2021. And we're going to get into that in just 1 second. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so you never miss a video that will make you more money. Let's jump into it. So here's the thing. A lot of my clients, a lot of people that jump on discovery calls with me ask me, is it really still worth doing a webinar? Are we going to get any traffic? Are we going to get any sales from it? And the answer is 100% yes. They are still worth doing. Sure, there are more people in the marketplace doing webinars, but there are also way more people looking to learn right now. Because of the pandemic through 2020, we saw people jumping into the marketplace more and more, both on the side of doing webinars, but way more people looking to learn, looking to grow their knowledge from home. And that's really what a webinar is. It is a teaching platform where you get to show your expertise, show people that they can know, like, and trust you, and then move them towards a sales conversation. That's what a webinar is at its core. It can be used on Facebook Live. It can be used on any number of webinar platforms. It can be used on Zoom. Anywhere that people can consume video, you can do a webinar and people will pay attention because people want to learn. They want the answer. So that's the key. The key is that you have to offer an amazing outcome to the people who jump on your webinar. So I want to go through 3 quick mistakes that a lot of people make when they're putting together their webinar. And then I want to go through 3 things that will set your webinar apart and get you more engagement, more traffic, and more conversions. Then I'm going to go through 3 things that are going to get you more excitement, more engagement, more traffic, and more conversions on your webinar. So first off, the first mistake that most people make is that they jump right into teaching. This is the absolute worst thing that you can do. It's fed by our ego. We want to deliver as much value as possible. That does not equate just dumping a whole bunch of knowledge on them. That's going to put people to sleep. Think of your favorite teacher that you had in high school, right? Now think of your least favorite teacher. Your least favorite teacher probably taught and taught and taught. They weren't engaging. They weren't fun. You put your head down, passed notes, or if you're like me, you ran out the back door, right? Your favorite teacher, on the other hand, used stories. They were engaging. They probably taught less, but you remembered more. The same holds true in a webinar. So you don't just want to start by dumping a ton of information on them. Instead, you want to warm them up. You want to tell them stories. You want to use humor. You want to be engaging. The number 2 big mistake that people make is they show up with low energy. They turn their camera off and they just read their slide deck. This leads to people bouncing off your webinar very quickly. So how do you fight this? Turn on your camera, talk with your hands, get excited. People that are on your webinar mirror your energy level. So if you show up at a 3, 4, or 5, they're going to show up at a 1 or 2. They're always going to be a level or 2 below you, and they're going to look at Facebook, they're going to be on their phone, and they're going to bounce off your webinar. Instead, you have to show up at a 7, 8, or 9. You have to be at your peak energy level. How do you do this? Drink some coffee, jump on a trampoline beforehand, use your hands, talk a little bit louder than normal, amp up your energy, and you will see more people stay on your webinar longer. The third big mistake that I see is people, when they do teach, they aren't using stories. They just jump right into the teaching points. And while this makes logical sense, it does not work well to engage people. You have to lead with stories. So there are 5 core stories that you need to have in your webinar. The biggest ones being your hero's journey story at the beginning, and then your core teaching stories for each one of your teaching points. Those are what get people to lean in and say, oh, I can totally see how this would work in my business. Then you can give them the logical points of how they use it. This gets people excited, gets them to lean in and see and future pace themselves. By future pacing themselves and by using some open loops, you'll drive people to the sale, and this leads to increased conversions. So those are the 3 biggest mistakes. What are the 3 things that you can do to make your webinar better? The first one is use curiosity and open loops. When you tell stories, be dramatic. In the beginning, you want to leave a little bit of information out because this gets people to lean in. This is called an open loop. The way that you create an open loop is you save a little bit for later. By pulling a little bit out, you get people to ask the question, well, tell me more about that. So when you're building an open loop, what do you hold out? That's an open loop right there. I ask a question, I got you to lean in. That's using an open loop, using some curiosity, using some drama. You want to have a great headline. And when you start, you want to talk about the outcomes that people are going to get, but leave out the how and then drip out the how throughout the webinar. The second big thing that you want to use is your hero's journey. So a lot of people, because they're feeding their ego, want to point to themselves as the ultimate authority up here on a mountain. But then it comes across as you're shouting down at people, and nobody likes to be shouted out. Instead, you want to use your hero's journey story. Start people where you were at. Show people how you overcame the challenges, how you worked through the pain points, and how you earned or learned the main thing that you're teaching them. When you do this, you take them on a journey with you, and people see that you've solved their pain points, you've overcome their challenges. They will know, like, and trust you way, way more. The third thing is you are an 8, 9, or 10 in your school of expertise. And a lot of times we see people just try to take people on their webinars and move them up to being an expert level. Well, the thing is that people that come to your webinar are looking to learn. They're at a 1, 2, or 3. You need to move them. Your goal is to move them up one level. By doing this, it takes all the pressure off of them. It gets them excited, it gets them into momentum, and it gets them moving forward. It also stops the brain fatigue because you're not just dumping a whole bunch of information on them. You get them to lean forward, you get them to lean in, you get them excited about what they're learning, showing them how they can use it to grow themselves or grow their business, and then they will move forward with you because they've gotten into a little bit of momentum. One of my favorite quotes of all times, which sums all of this up, is by Zig Ziglar, and that is that sales is nothing more than the transference of energy, excitement, and certainty about what you are selling from yourself to the buyer. And a webinar does that so incredibly well when you show up with high energy, use stories, and get people excited about the outcomes that you're giving them. Have questions or comments about how this would work in your business? Drop them down below in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them for you. And while you're down there, hit the like and subscribe button. You can also grab my free course on webinars. 5 worksheets and 5 videos that will get you started towards having a successful webinar. Till next time, take action, change lives, and make money. I'll see you soon.